there, everybody. Welcome back to another Whiteboard Friday video for Friday, September the 8th. I've been gone a while off the air, as it were, as you know. Only now I've decided to come back because there's just so much stuff I want to talk about, want to share with you. And thanks to my getting a lot of the day-to-day operations of product sourcing off of my desk, I finally now have some more time to focus back here on Bright Ideas. So let's start as we always do with the numbers. Then I want to share with you the goings-ons in the few months since I've been on the air and some of the key takeaways and lessons for this week. All right, so let's jump into it. Over the last 7 days, revenue of $32,778, gross profit of $44.83, and gross margin of 13.68%, which is absolutely horrible. We are normally around 21% now. For the reasons I'll get into in a minute, this might not actually be completely accurate, and I'll explain why in a second. 30 days, just shy of $138,000 of revenue, which is pretty much, I think, the record that we've done. And then gross profit way down from our record of around $28,500 down at around $21,500 for a margin of 15.64%. So very disappointing, great, well, decent from a revenue perspective. I actually thought we would have been higher by now. There's been a number of reasons why. And the biggest reason is Amazon themselves, and this is why the margins are so low. So I mentioned to you earlier in previous videos that we have an exclusive contract with a supplement company, and by and large it's been going pretty well, and that has been a very profitable contract for us up until around 2 or 3 weeks ago when Amazon decided to get on their products. Now, they did not start selling their products to Amazon. They don't even know who is selling their products to Amazon. They are as upset about it as we are. So this is an event that is totally beyond our control. So what are we doing about it? Well, to a certain degree, we're just getting our asses kicked because our share of the buy box of the top product of the 6 or 7 of them that we carry, we used to have a 90+% share. Now we're down to an under 10% share. And that's right, because Amazon is taking it all themselves. And of course, they've driven down the price like crazy. So you can imagine the brand is just ecstatic about that happening. Not. So number one, relationship plus contracts equals rebates. They have been fairly good with us so far as the price has eroded, as Amazon has been kind of on and off the listing before this last couple of weeks where they've just been on the listing all the time. Each time the price has declined, they've been rebating us the difference to keep our margin at around 33%, which is why our overall margins generally hover around 21, because we've got them being a significant portion of our revenue. Now the price has been driven down so low that the person on their staff who normally authorizes the rebates, it's over his pay grade and he's got to go to the CEO. And so there's probably rebates coming. Those rebates, once they adjust our cost of goods sold in Seller Legends, the app that we use to get these numbers out, those numbers probably will go up, but there's no guarantee that's going to happen. There's no guarantee those rebates are going to be approved. So that might end up being our reality, which over the last 30 days, like I say, that sucks pretty bad because it costs more than that amount to run my company every month, including my wife and I's salary. So we can pay all the bills and everybody else's salary except our salaries. We pay some of our salaries with that number, so it has to go back up. So the takeaway and why I'm talking about this is you need, in your business, there are always going to be things that are totally beyond your control, especially in the world of Amazon. And so if you're going to lead your company in the right direction, you need to focus on the things that are within your control so you don't lose your sanity while you're losing your profit. So in our case, ironically enough, we started to play, maybe 6 weeks ago or so, we started to play this thing called the Great Game of Business. You may have seen in episode 216 of the podcast, I talked about it. And one of the things that is a core part of the Great Game of Business is focusing on something called your critical number. And there's all sorts of ways that you arrive at your critical number, and that's well beyond the scope of this video. But in our case, we determined that our critical number was the amount of gross profit that we generate, not including this one brand relationship. So our overhead is roughly 26,000 bucks a month if you include the wages that my wife and I take out. So that means that our critical number, we wanted to get to a point where we were generating 26,000 a month of gross profit, not including this brand at all. That way, if, heaven forbid, Amazon were to get on the listing, which they did, or we were to lose the contract or whatever were to happen, we would still keep ticking along fine at a break, as a company, a break-even point. Now, in the event, so when we achieve that, and we set up this mini game around it, and we've got this wall chart and all that kind of stuff, should we achieve that and this account comes back to life in the way that it was, or even better, then of course we would go from break even, paying our salaries, paying everybody else's salaries and all the expenses, to wildly profitable on any given month. So I really encourage you, number one, to check out The Great Game of Business. It's a phenomenal book, and there's all sorts of really great lessons in there, because as your team grows, you're going to need to have some way to prevent all of the problems that come along with your team growing. And again, beyond the scope of this video, I could talk about it forever. Suffice to say, you can go ahead and check it out. Systems. So the other thing that happened in the last couple of months since I shot the last video was we were sending about 100 emails per week to attempt to source new products. And then for a couple of months, we were getting almost no new products, or the revenue we were getting from new products should have been driving revenue up, but of course we were having products that were coming to end of life because all the margin was driven out of them by other idiot sellers, so we couldn't reorder those. So more revenue coming in the front door, but revenue leaking out the back door. So overall, revenue really wasn't climbing. I thought actually we were going to be over 200 grand a month by now, but that's not the case, as you can plainly see. So we decided that we would slightly alter how we were going after our products in some of the key numbers, some of the profit potential. Basically, we were going to, in a nutshell, we were going to go after slightly less competitive products, but then we would need more of them. So we decided to increase the number of emails that we send each week from 100 to 400, just a small little increase. And I'm happy to say that it worked exceptionally well. In the last 30 days, we sourced more products than we have ever in a period of a 30-day window. As a matter of fact, so in last month, which was August, we track it in terms of gross profit. We sourced $9,000 of monthly gross profit in new products. So what that means is, let's say that everything that we have for sale now just stayed the same, and we just stayed at 21,567. Once all of those products that we sourced last month are in stock, and assuming that the Jungle Scout estimates were not wildly inaccurate, and that the buy box price doesn't change massively, and both of those two things are totally beyond our control, we would then go from 21,500 to 30,500. So $9,000 of new products in 1 month is a phenomenal month. And I attribute that all to our systems. Now, product sourcing is not the only area where you need systems. As a matter of fact, you need systems in every area of your business. And so I have been asked repeatedly, and finally have decided to make it available sometime in late September or early October. We are going to make a product available that you can purchase that is basically the complete set of systems that we use to run our business on. And at last count earlier today, there was 54 different business systems that we rely on. And when I say systems, these are all live active checklists that live in a software application called Process Street. And these checklists then cause automation to occur with HubSpot and Google Sheets and Trello and our accounting app and all these other applications that we use. They all just kind of magically work together as a result of the way that we have built all of these systems. So it's not fully automated, but they are semi-automated. And as your business grows, you're going to need more and more systems unless you can A, memorize absolutely everything, never forget anything, and do all of the work yourself, which, as you might imagine, is totally and completely impossible unless you want to kill yourself in the process. My goal in running a business has always been to be the person that works on the business so that, quite frankly, I don't actually have to work in the business. Product sourcing, handled now by Jared upstairs. Marketing projects, handled by Laura upstairs. Reorders, handled by Liz upstairs. Picking, packing, and shipping, handled by Janine. We've got a team of now, I think, 6 different VAs, and I can assure you they're not memorizing and doing everything from memory either. So if you want to check that out, all you have to do is watch your inbox, because when it becomes available, I'll be inviting you to a webinar and you'll get emails. You just got to open them, click the links. It's not that hard to do. So if you're not a subscriber yet, go to Brightideas.co and become one. If you're watching this on YouTube and you've never even heard of Bright Ideas, go to Brightideas.co and become a subscriber. And of course, if you like this video on YouTube, if you can give it a thumbs up. If you want to get more notifications of videos, you can subscribe to the Bright Ideas channel. And lastly, if you want to get access to our Facebook mastermind group, become a subscriber and you'll get an email that will invite you in. And that's a place where we have day-to-day discussion. Now, in terms of the podcast, you can look for that to come back to life as well. Now that I finally have some time, I'm going to start recording a fair number more episodes over the next couple of months. Again, assuming that I still have the time to be able to do so. And I'm actually going to be publishing a business plan for what I'm hoping to accomplish with the podcast over the next 6 to 8 months. It's kind of like a special project, but again, beyond the scope of this video has already been very, very long. So thank you very much for tuning in. We'll see you in the next Whiteboard Friday video. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.